All right, in the last video, this is where we left off with basic creation and editing of a note. Now we want to go in and look at how we can organize our notes. And so what we'll do is we'll get out of this note by hitting the library. That's how we get out of a note. Again, it auto saves. You don't need to worry about hitting a save button or anything like that. You can see the note that I just created right here. So let's kind of examine our home screen and see what takes place in here. So we see we have a list of folders over here, and we'll talk about how to create those here in just a second. We can switch between looking at all notes or unfiled, or go to specific folders to find our notes. We can also search for a particular note. Great function in case you don't know where you put it. It's quick to go in and search if you named it correctly. So again, that's where that naming convention is very helpful for everyone. Naming convention also helps when you go to share it, because you can share it in Google Drive or email, and then it can be filtered or searched for in other programs if it's named correctly. Up here is the edit button. So this is where you can go in and move things around. We're going to get to that in just a second. We can send things. Again, that universal symbol to allow us to send. Great button here. We're going to talk about this in another session as well, is the import button. So once somebody shares something with you in Google Drive, you can import it back in. And then again, we talked about this in the other session. This is how we create. All right, let's go ahead and look at adding a folder, and then we'll talk about organizing. So if we hit the plus sign here, that's how we can add folders. Now, this gets a little bit confusing, the way that they name things inside of Notability. There's the category and the subject. Right now I'm on subject because it's colored in. Category, you can't actually put notes in a category. So I switched to category, and I'm going to go ahead and create one so you can see what it looks like. And we'll just call this one our test category. And so I type that in, then I'll hit done. I hit done there. And you notice it looks different than my others. This is like a main folder that you can put subfolders in. I cannot put notes inside of this. I can only put subfolders underneath it. So now I can come back in and add a subject. So maybe I'll title this one iPad and hit done. And you notice what it did. It created an actual folder that you can put notes in. And right now I don't have any in there. This iPad belongs to the test folder. So if I tap on the test folder, notice iPad disappears, and I have one inside of there. So I can kind of, if I have tons and tons and tons of folders, I can put these categories in there to kind of organize it to another level if you want to. But if you want to create folders that you can put notes in, they have to be the subject, like this. Now let's look how we can go through and move our notes from one spot to another. So we can go in and we can look at all of our notes. So I'll do that first. When we look at this, all the notes that I have, you notice it tells you the name of the note, and then if it's foldered, it'll tell you the name of the folder that it's in. So this one's in the welcome, this one's in iPad Summit, and I can kind of go through my list there and look to see where I have each one of these notes located at. So if they're not in a folder, I can move them. We'll get into that in just a second. Unfiled would take us to all the notes that are not in one of these folders. Very important. If it's not in a file, then it's not organized, and so you probably want to get these someplace that's organized. So to organize them or move them, we would hit the edit button, and then that allows us to press and hold on any one of these notes. I'm pressing and holding right now. You can see where it's moving around. And then I can simply drag and drop it into the folder I want. So I'm going to put this one in the iPad folder. Now it's not in my unfiled anymore. And I can simply take and press and hold and start to move these around. All right. When I'm done moving them around, I can just hit the done button. If I want to delete, I can do that from here. I'll show you an easier way to delete. I can also organize my files or folders over here by grabbing the little bars. The little bars are kind of a standard symbol there as well. So I can move these around, and this is how I can associate them with different folders, or just move the order of them to the way that I want them. I can also rename things while I'm in here. So if I tap in here, I can rename this. I broke my cardinal rule here by not naming it originally, so I'll just call this test 2. There we go. And so we can rename. So we can do lots of things while we're in this edit view. Move, and then delete and rename. I'm going to hit done because I'm done editing up there. And now these are back organized. I can go into any one of these folders and look at the notes. I just tapped on the iPad 2. You know I'm in there because this little arrow. And I can see the 2 notes that I just moved in there. If I want to move these out of there, I can hit the edit button, move them somewhere else. So you can constantly move things around and kind of get organized a little bit while you're in here. So deleting. Let's look at the way that we can delete something. It's very simple to do. It's just like it is in email and other programs. If I swipe my finger from left to right on here, it brings up the delete button. I tap it and it's gone. I can do the same thing with a folder. So I'm going to swipe the iPad and it'll allow me to delete that folder that I just created. And it'll ask you, do you want to delete it? Yes. So I just deleted that and the contents inside of there because I didn't need that anymore. So we can come through, we can delete, we can folder things and get really organized within here. All right, the next session that we're going to take a look at in the next video, we'll cover how to send and share within Notability.